China has dramatically overhauled Hong Kong's electoral system. The changes are the most sweeping and controversial since the city's return to Chinese rule in 1997. Supporters say the overhaul is necessary for Hong Kong to uphold sovereignty and national security. But critics argue it effectively entrenches the influence of the pro-Beijing camp in Hong Kong, while curbing the opposition. The changes affect the makeup of both Hong Kong's Legislative Council and the Election Committee. The committee was originally tasked with selecting the city's top leader, the chief executive. In the past, there were 1,200 committee seats, evenly distributed with 300 each in 4 sectors. It has now been expanded to 1,500 seats, with the addition of a 5th sector, made up of Hong Kong members from 5 national patriotic groups, as well as from China's top legislature and its top political advisory body. Beijing loyalists have always held the majority on the election committee, so why the changes? It has to do with the 2019 District Council elections. The polls had been Hong Kong's most democratic exercise, where voters directly elect their representatives. In the old system, there were 117 district council seats in the political sector of the election committee. Hong Kong's opposition bloc, particularly the resistance faction that advocates a more confrontational approach against Beijing, scored a landslide victory in the 2019 polls and was set to take all of those election committee seats. And that boost in numbers would have made them kingmakers in a 2 or 3 candidate race in the 2022 chief executive election. Not anymore. Beijing's revamp of the election committee eliminated all 117 district council seats and replaced them with 156 seats from members from municipal bodies dominated by the pro-Beijing camp. That, combined with changes to the other sectors and the additional 5th sector, gives Beijing loyalists a dominant majority on the election committee. The election committee also has the new power to determine who can run for a seat on Hong Kong's Legislative Council. The political overhaul requires those who run for a LegCo seat to first secure between 2 and 4 nominations from each of the election committee's 5 sectors. The committee itself also now has 40 seats in the legislature. They can be occupied by committee members or others who garner enough support from the committee. That's thanks to Beijing's restructuring of LegCo. It used to have 70 seats, 35 lawmakers who are directly elected by Hong Kong residents from 5 geographical constituencies, and 35 were chosen from trade-based functional constituencies. Now there are 90 seats in LegCo. 20 are to be elected by the city's residents, 30 to be chosen by functional constituencies, and 40 from the election committee. That means the number of LegCo seats directly elected by Hong Kongers has gone from 50% to 18%. On top of restructuring the election committee and LegCo, there are also new rules on who can run for office. Not only do candidates need to secure nominations from the election committee, they also need to be vetted by a new candidate eligibility review committee, which receives information from the National Security Police. This committee's decision is final. If it decides a candidate is ineligible to run for whatever reason, there is no way for that candidate to appeal. Beijing says this is to ensure the new principle that Hong Kong is ruled by patriotic people and that those deemed unpatriotic or a threat to national security have no place in LegCo. Critics say the changes severely limit opposition voices in both the election committee and LegCo, but there's little they can do. It's illegal for people to publicly encourage others from taking actions like casting a protest vote or boycotting elections. The changes to Hong Kong's political system, combined with the national security law passed in 2020, have Hong Kong's opposition groups weighing their options to figure out if and how they can move forward.